there. And, and we've got to just become aware of it, become cognizant of it, and be empowered. Take the red pill and face the music. Don't be a coward. Don't buy into the ignorance is bliss. Okay, yes, it's painful to know the truth, but what are you going to do? It's like, as a gardener, the analogy of thistles breaking out. If I'm taking care of a yard and I see a thistle come up, if I say, you know what, I don't have my gloves on and it's spiny, I don't want to deal with it, and I let it go, that thistle can grow very rapidly and multiply. It'll seed, and then I'll not be dealing with one thistle, but I'll have a multitude of thistles. And then if I put it off and say, yeah, it's negative, man, I don't want to deal with it, that's just a bummer. Now I know I'm going to get poked one way or another, so I'll just let them, maybe they'll just die of a blight or something. I'll leave them alone, and let the insects, just let somebody else deal with it. And so what's going to happen? What's going to happen, folks? They're going to multiply, and they're going to take over the entire garden. So I'll have to just abandon the garden to the thistles. And that's a system we've got right now. We've got all these mini elitists, mini establishmentarians, these the go along, get along, class of people out there that say, hey, something? I'm one of the overlords now. I'm a landlord. It's in my interest to support the system. Don't rock the boat. The price fixing has been good for me. The market manipulation. Rents are really, we got them by the throat now. They've gotten rid of every semblance of rent control out there, except the tiny little pockets are left right now, but it's been almost completely eroded away everywhere you look. So there's no protection. There's no consumer protection for the people. And so these overlords are your next door neighbor now. They're everywhere. And, we've got thistles everywhere that now their interest is in maintaining the problem being poverty, austerity, it's oppression. This is this is tyranny. And they want it cemented. And this goes against what God's will is. And so you can see this thing is going to be traumatic when it finally hits the fan, when humanity finally hits the wall. And it becomes clear, I'm not going to be standing back there laughing and saying, look, I told you so, I told you so. No, it's going to be a very sad day when you see people that have been deceived going over the cliff. And being deceived is really easy, especially with what we're being taught by the mainstream media and in the universities, this social Darwinism, that the earth is overpopulated. You see, it's like this, like a drug addict. You take a coke addict, and if that door is not completely slammed shut, when people get into recovery and they're successful, what they've done is they've shut that door completely. That's not an option anymore. They might fall here and there in the next place, but that door is shut. So, their drug of choice is no longer an option for them. The door is completely shut and locked tight. And that happens in their heart and mind. It's what they want. They're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And it's the same thing for people that have bought into this system. If that door is open just a little bit, then you let the whole thing in. So if you've been taught by the system that the earth is overpopulated and you've bought into that lie, that deceit, your heart, mind, if you say, well, it's a gray area at least, I'm confused. So you're like what they call not an agnostic, So yeah, there might be a God, there might not. You're one of these people comes. You're lukewarm, like it talks about in the Bible, that God is going to spit you out of His mouth. So what I would really encourage people to do, where I'm really seeing the deceit fall, is on this overpopulation thing. And it's ridiculous. It's a lie from the pit of hell, folks. This is it. This is the master deceit. This is probably the mark of the beast. And with this Ebola thing now going on, it looks like they're trying to spread Ebola, and that would be according to their plan of depopulating the earth. So it's probably going to affect, if there's any justice in the universe, then God would let the people that are believing the earth is overpopulated be the ones that perish, that end up dying from this. And all those that seek to save their lives are going to die. They say, hey, my life, but their heart and minds are impure because they don't care about that third world child that's going to die today, or that homeless guy that's going to get his head kicked in your neighborhood tonight. Okay? You understand how this thing works? So I'm trying to encourage everybody to say, you know what? See it. See the truth. Take the red pill and say, you know what? I don't want anything to do with this system. And I'm going to jump ship everywhere I can. I'm going to stop hoarding. and I'm going to start sharing, because I know that if humanity just shared the wealth that exists, and it's not about the money. I mean, it is and it isn't. Now it is about the money, but it's about the stuff that the money buys. So, if you just give people the stuff, clean drinking water primarily, healthy food primarily, housing primarily, the essential human needs first, and then you realize, hey, there's also plenty of luxury items. There's plenty of automobiles. There's plenty of people that want to work to build highways and bridges. There's plenty of everything. There's plenty of electronics. Then why can't it be realized? Ask yourself these things. Ask yourself why the problems never go away. Because of all the people that have an interest in the problem being maintained. And the most paramount problem that is essential for these people to maintain, the quintessential problem, is poverty. Keeping people intentionally poor. Imposing austerity through debt, through the debasement of your currency, through cost of living inflation, without the subsequent, wage inflation, with an ever-reduced work week because of the fact that we find easier and easier and easier ways to produce our needs. So there's less and less need for the labor force out there. So that's the world that we could have, and you've got to get it. You've got to understand what's going on here, and we don't need to pollute the earth. Why are we still using dirty fuel? Because it's not in the interest of the dirty fuel producers to get off it. It's that simple. It's like saying, well, I'm going to take your livelihood away. I'm going to take your bread and butter. Yeah, I'm going to step all over your toes. I'm going to destroy you. Or the debt. Think of all the people that are employed in the debt industrial complex, the military industrial complex. How much harder, if everybody was prosperous, would it be to have to, enlist people in wars that were very questionable, very dubious at best? And crime, same thing. Crime plummet. Is that in the interest of the establishment right now to have crime plummet? The jailers, the attorneys, the police? No, of course not, folks. And this is the reality that I would wish everybody would wake up to. And let's all work together to pull the weight down the hill. One soul at a time, one person at a time, by spreading good ideas. I don't come across that coherent probably on video, but I try my best, and I try to, if I could convey one truth that is valuable, that came from the Spirit of God, because that only good things I get come from that source, and then convey it to you, and you can put it out to another person. That's how it works. We all work together here as a team to pull the weight of establishmentarians down the hill, bring them into the truth, bring them off their lofty heights and say, humble yourself, like it says in Scripture. Those that humble themselves shall be exalted. Those that have exalted themselves shall be humbled. So these people are due for a humbling. And we've got to help it be a gentle process. That's what we want to do. We don't want to sit back and say, I told you so, let them fall over the cliff. No, these are our own family members. These are our kids. These could be our parents. These could be anyone. These could be your friends. These are very intelligent people. Okay? It's not a deficiency, a moral deficiency. It's not an intelligence deficiency, okay, for people that have been persuaded to believe the lie and deceit. It's just that these people are masters at deceiving the public. And like I said, it all takes is chucking a little mud in the lake. Well, could be. You're on the fence. It's a gray area. Half a dozen and one, six, all this kind of, rhetoric and thinking. And, I'm here to tell you that the earth is very underpopulated, and that we don't have to wreck it to live on it. We don't need to worry about real estate. We're talking about a God that set up the universe and the galaxies and the solar systems. He's got all the real estate that he wants in the universe. So, when this earth is populated to his satisfaction, how hard is it to imagine? He simply pulls the fertility. But no, we got to listen to a bunch of usurpers who are brainwashing us. And yes, I understand that if you take a snapshot of Tokyo at rush hour, or, Los Angeles freeway at rush hour, you say, oh yeah, it's overpopulated. But remember, this reality has been foisted on us. This is all part of their plan to make us believe these things. Okay, but I could think of, many ways to improve traffic flow, and it's not being done. It's not like I'm smarter than the, Caltrans engineers, the traffic engineers out there. It's that they don't want the problems fixed. They want these problems. The top policymakers need the problems to persist. If the problems start going away, which is going to happen one way or another here, then, they're rendered irrelevant. We don't need them anymore. It's only when you've got chaos and crises and problems that these establishmentarian types are relevant. And so we've got to convince everybody else, remember, who you're having faith in, who you're trusting in. It is literally the spirit of Satan at the top. These top policymakers have embraced that spirit of Satan. These are the mean people. That's it. They're mean. They live by a double standard. They believe in hypocrisy, and elitism is that whole exalting myself above you. I'm more important somehow than you. And I respect educated people, folks. And I support education fully. That you should learn whatever you want as much as you want to learn. But I also say respect those that choose to be simple and say, hey, I'd rather farm the land. You know what? That's beautiful. What is God's opinion of somebody that decides to work on a farm? It decides, to work to bring you water. People digging wells out there, are a part of this whole thing. And people working in the grocery stores, storing your food and delivering it to you. The truck drivers. Everybody deserves to be treated fairly. This is why I'm an egalitarian, because it all makes sense. And the better things are for you, the better they are for me. The more secure you are, the more secure I am. But I live in a world filled with insecurity. That's fear. That's the miasma. And it's been done intentionally. That's tyranny. That's oppression. That's what they've done. And so we can't enjoy our stinking little lives. It's like they've stolen our joy. And the scriptures say that the joy of the Lord is our strength. So you see, this is what they're after. They like us in this state.